Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are skipping the usual agenda entirely because we're going straight underground to uncover the hidden infrastructure of human behavior. We've always been told that if you want to make massive life changes, you need massive dramatic moments, right? A huge leap of faith or some crazy sudden epiphany. But what if that's actually only half the story? What if the deeper truth about who you really are isn't found in those big, flashy moments at all, but in the tiny, almost invisible things you repeat every single day? Think about it for a second. Think about the absolute most boring parts of your day. Making your bed, scrolling on your phone, tying your shoes, grabbing a quick snack. What if those daily routines are quietly writing the story of who you are? I really want you to look at those seemingly insignificant chores differently. They aren't just things you do. They're the actual building blocks of your identity. Every single time you repeat an action, you are sending a remarkably powerful signal straight to your brain.
It helps to think of your habits as a kind of hidden infrastructure. It's kind of like underground water lines. You almost never notice them, and honestly, they don't look particularly impressive on the surface, but they quietly, literally determine exactly what reaches the tap every single day. The small repetitions in your life aren't just behaviors playing out on a loop. They are signals. Each tiny repeat tells your brain, hey, this is normal, this is me, this is just what I do.
So what actually is a habit, really? Basically, it's simply a learned shortcut your brain trusts because it saves effort. Your brain is essentially an energy-saving machine. It absolutely hates wasting effort on making brand new decisions for every little thing. It's like walking through really tall grass. That first time, you have to push super hard to make a path. But if you walk that exact same route every single day, eventually it becomes this perfectly clear, super easy trail. Your brain will always prefer the route it has already practiced.
Okay, so the mechanics behind that shortcut actually break down into a super simple three-part loop. First up, you have the cue. Think of a doorbell ringing. Second is the response. You walk over and you open the door. And third, the reward. You see your friend and hear their voice. The doorbell is the trigger, opening the door is the action, and the joy of seeing your friend is that crucial payoff. It's what tells your brain, hey, that was awesome, let's definitely do that again next time.
People talk about habits all the time, like they're just fixed personality traits, right? Like you're either naturally disciplined or you're not. But that is a complete myth. Habits are trained responses. Imagine walking into your bedroom in the pitch dark. You don't have to map out the room with a flashlight to find your way. Your hand just instinctively reaches out and finds the light switch. Your body simply remembers. Your nervous system is already predicting what comes next and prepares the action before you even consciously think about it.
But here's the thing. Context is literally everything. Think about that light switch again. If you pull that switch out of the wall and take it out into the street, flicking it does absolutely nothing. It only works because of the room, the specific wiring, and the lamp it's connected to. Habits are the exact same way. If a habit keeps failing for you, it's often just because your environment is interrupting it. You aren't solely relying on willpower. Your actions are deeply, deeply shaped by the world and the systems around you.
So how does all of this translate into building your actual identity? Well, when you do something over and over, your brain sits there acting kind of like a judge in a courtroom. A single, isolated action? That's just a coincidence. But when a pattern keeps showing up consistently, the brain stops treating it as a random event and starts treating it as cold, hard evidence. It's not judging if it's morally good or bad yet, it's just noticing, okay, this behavior is reliable. And once a behavior becomes reliable, your brain starts anticipating it.
Let's break down exactly how this shift happens step by step. Say you start writing for just 10 minutes every morning. The very first time you do it, your brain says, whoa, okay, this is unusual. But you keep at it. As it repeats, your brain starts to reevaluate and says, okay, this is getting familiar. After enough repetition, the action just becomes easy. It becomes expected. And over time, the ultimate shift happens. The brain concludes, this is part of me. You didn't magically become a writer and then start writing. You wrote, and through the mounting evidence of that writing, you became a writer.
And this brings us to what is easily one of the most powerful concepts in this entire explainer. Normal is stronger than dramatic. Sure, a massive, heroic effort might look incredible on social media, but true identity is built by what feels completely ordinary. Think of a lamp turning on every single evening. At first, you really notice the light, but eventually the room just expects it. It becomes a part of the room's nature. That is exactly what repeated actions do to your self-image. They literally create a new normal.
But wait, it's not just blind robotic repetition going on here. Emotion acts as the glue. If an action brings you relief, or pride, or comfort, your brain flags it as a keeper. For example, in a lot of households in Pakistan, families repeatedly practice really deep frugality,
like diligently saving money and carefully reusing items. At first, it's just a practical money choice, but over the years, the reward of feeling responsible anchors that behavior. It transitions from a simple financial tactic into a deep core family value. People start saying, I am the kind of person who manages carefully. Emotion plus repetition builds the expectation of who you are.
Think of this whole progression from an action to a self-concept as an identity ladder. You start down there on the bottom rung with a behavior. I studied today. It's just a single, isolated event. Then you step up to a pattern. I study most mornings. Now it's becoming familiar. Finally, you reach that top rung, identity. I am someone who studies. You see, one-off actions don't magically transform a person. It's the repeated actions that finally give the mind enough evidence to completely reclassify who you are.
Which brings this entire system together with an absolutely incredible metaphor. A habit is a vote, and repetition is the ballot box. One single vote rarely decides a whole election, right? If you skip the gym one day or eat one bad meal, you haven't ruined your identity. But thousands of small votes, cast day after day after day, ultimately decide the winner. You are slowly electing your future self through thousands of tiny, completely ordinary actions. You're voting for the identity you want to inhabit.
So I want to leave you with this one final provocative thought. The very next time you're tying your shoes, or sitting at your desk, or grabbing your phone, don't just ask yourself what you're doing. Ask yourself, what kind of evidence are you collecting about who you are? Every shortcut, every loop, every tiny little repetition, it's all a piece of evidence. You hold the pen to this story. Make sure you're casting votes for the person you actually want to become. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on The Explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.